Airsoft GI would like to thank our sponsors.
So there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened at Tim vs. Bob 1, but there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened at Tim vs. Bob 2, especially since we finally had armor. We had a bunch of guys with rocket launchers. You had armor.
I had armor.
You had armor.
You had the therapist.
I had the therapist. Thankfully, they showed up. They had like 3 rocket launchers.
Those guys were on point with that launcher, man.
It's like, fire 1, dump it. Next one, fire.
Boom.
Reloaded,
Armadillo down.
fire. Yeah, they got it down so fast. It was amazing. And the guys that didn't have rocket launchers, they had like saws. I saw 2 guys in suits that had 50 caliber sniper rifles. They were literally just going to run around like that.
That's very cool. But let's talk about Dan Herrera.
Yes, Dan Herrera.
He challenged you to a duel, I think.
I believe
on
he's
YouTube.
I believe he was. He challenged me to a duel on YouTube, and it was such a cool video. I mean, I don't know. It's
What
just
was he using? He was like a.
he had a staff that basically a double-bladed sword or double-bladed staff. Sword on either side. And it was really cool how it worked out. I mean, I've trained with stabs before, and it looked like he had as well. So I thought the duel might have been pretty awesome. I was like, oh, dude, that'd be awesome. Come on down, be on my team and whatnot. And showed up. He had the staff, and he also had, I think a 45 and just basic civilian gear.
He didn't have like a gun. He brought the staff and like a sidearm. Basically
a 45 and the staff. Yeah.
That's pretty hardcore.
But I thought he was all in for my team. But he contacted you.
He hit me up via Facebook, and he was like, "Hey man, I heard what Bob did at TVB1. I want to be on Spy on your team." And I was like, "Perfect. That works out really well." I was like. So I told him, I was like, we'll get to the game. We'll set up a radio channel. I don't need you to do much. Just let me know where Bob is.
Exactly, yeah.
Get a chance to capture him, right? But Dan Herrera came down, because he lives in NorCal, I think. He came down, brought 2 of his buddies with him, and 2 of his buddies went up to you and was like, "Hey, I think our buddy's going to betray you."
Yeah. I was given like this speech beforehand, and right after the speech, when we're in the deployment zone, they came up. They're like, "Hey."
This was before the game started.
Yeah, no, but right before, they're like, "Hey, our buddy Dan. We came all the way down from NorCal. We want to fight with you, but our buddy Dan is totally like radioing the other team. We just thought you should know." I was like, "All right, I won't let him know you told me." They're like, "Yeah, don't do that, but he'll know." so yeah, part of the way through the game, I'm on my way back to Regen, and I see Dan coming out of Regen, and actually the team therapists are actually heading out of Regen as well. And I grab a couple. I'm like, "Hey, come with me. That's a spy right there. We need to go deal with him." They're like, "All right, cool." And I'm like, "Hey, Dan, come back to the HQ. I got to talk to you for a second." And we head into the HQ. I actually set down my guns just to put him at ease a little bit, and the therapist actually formed a semicircle around him. And he didn't even turn around, so he didn't even like know he's in danger. And I'm like, "Hey, can I see that sidearm real quick?" And just hands it to me, and then I'm like, "Oh, hey, also I want to check out your radio. My radio's going down." So all right, hands that to me, and I'm like,
handed it to you?
Yeah, just handed it to me.
He didn't like.
Well, I think
try to flip over a station or something.
Well, I don't know if he like realized like he was in trouble yet, or like he didn't really know what was going on. But he was like, all right, here you go." And I was like, "Who's on the other end of this radio?" And I hear back, "This is David, which is your XO."
Yeah.
And then I just look up. I look up straight at Dan, and I look at everyone else like, "Gentlemen, we have a spy." And then a couple people pull out like sidearms, point them at him. One of the therapists points his like RPK right at his head. I'm like, "All right, let's take him to jail." But yeah, no, I remember hearing it from David from his point of view. But why don't you tell us about that?
David came because we were just walking to where we were supposed to go. We hadn't even really gotten like going yet. And then David goes up, he's like, "Hey, I think Bob's on the other end of this radio." And I was like, "Really?" And I really don't remember how you tell me how David told you that it went down, because I just remember him telling me that you were on the other end of the radio. I was like, "Well, that's a bummer. We'll just have to play the game normally."
Well, yeah, no. Basically, you guys were like, "Wow, he found our spy like real quick." Like it was basically within the first 10 minutes of the game that it just got outed.
So I didn't even get to use my spy.
Nope.
But I think as long as David had a good time, Daniel had a good time, because you actually ousted him to our team.
Well, I was trying to figure out what we're gonna do with him, because he was dressed in civvy clothes. We had to hold him in the jail just because he just tried to spy on my team, and we actually were losing control of the jail. And then we kind of agreed with the ref staff that he would be able to play on your side, but the issue is that
he didn't look like a Timpire.
He was wearing civvies, so a lot of my team knew him as the spy, and then a lot of your team, most of your team, didn't know that, so he was stuck in between 2 teams, and he just had that double-bladed staff. And at one point, I believe he actually escaped our capture, where someone turned around, he was like, nerf kill, and just ran out of there.
Really?
Yeah, so I was pretty impressed. He made it more entertaining. I mean, I was sad he turned on me, but it made the game much more entertaining.
Yeah,
it felt like a movie, to be honest.
Definitely.
So.
That was kind of just. I kind of remember David's reaction. He's like, "Hey, I think Bob's on the other end of this radio."
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's useless now.
We have it on camera. He's literally like, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No, yeah, because he's. Oh, you radioed it and you were like, "Who's on the other end of this radio?" I was like, "This is Tim. This is Tim's friend David," and then. That's when I think David made the realization, like, oh, shit.
Why did I say that?
Another one of those foot-in-mouth moments.
Because he could tell my voice on the radio, so.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like that that game because, obviously it doesn't bother me getting rolled by armor. And it bothers you, but it doesn't bother you that much when you're in that armor rolling other people. It seemed like...
There's not even a gun on the top of that thing.
No, but the footage looks really cool because it's you and another guy with, guns with high-capacity magazines up there firing, and then at one of the pieces of footage we put online, you can actually see the rocket go right over your guys' heads over the tank.
Like, well, that was close.
Yeah, no, that was pretty crazy. Because I was with the therapist when they were shooting rockets, and I remember that one time he's like, "God dang it, I missed." I was like, "We'll get another one on there." He's like, "We're loading." I was like, "Shit." So make it happen. But I definitely puked during that game.
You know who did awesome? Michael Wojcik showed up without his wife because she didn't want to play, but he brought her gun. And that was that G&P Mark 23.
That was the stoner machine gun.
The stoner machine gun. He said he had a blast because he's actually kind of a tall guy, so he's able to stand up on some of the tables and shoot over the walls at people.
I put some of that footage online because he was over it and he could see most of the field, and he was just
mowing people down all day.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely had some issues, and there's something really funny that I thought maybe you could mention when Jet walked away with your scientist.
Oh, dude. Okay, so I had to capture a scientist or something like that, and I got him, and I put him in what I thought was a safe place with people I could trust, and then which is like at a corner of the field, and I'm down in this middle area, and then I'm just shooting, getting my airsoft on. I look up, and Jet is escorting my scientist away from my building. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And so I'm like, hey, go get him! And so we're like, let's go. So me and a bunch of guys make a mad rush over there, and then Jesse's like, oh no, run!
What I remember Jet telling me is that, like, you were looking at him like, what are you doing? Like, what? This is shady. And then he turns around and he's like, and then he tells everyone, I'm like, run! And he turns around with his AK, he's like, ah!
Yeah, he was firing back. I was firing while we were running, and I forget how that exchange happened. I think the scientist did end up getting...
The scientist ended up getting all the way over to my side. He actually got almost to our company HQ when he got shot by your team. He literally expired a couple feet in front of me, and we had to push down a lot of cover fire down range, and I had to run up and drag him out of there.
I think my goal when I got there was just to shoot anybody, shoot the scientist, shoot Jet, shoot whatever.
Yeah.
Just make sure somebody dies so that an objective's not completed.
Well, mission accomplished. That operation ended in a tie. I mean, you guys. It felt like you guys were rolling us for a big portion of it, but it did end in a tie.
The second half of the game, the second game we played that day, we controlled a lot of the field.
Yeah, that is definitely true. But that was a really fun field. We haven't been back out to Desert Fox Fields in Oro Grande in a while, but Jet's a really good field owner, and he runs those fields pretty well.
I think he's going to be improving the field sometime in the future, and if he does that, we can go back.
Why? I mean, it feels pretty good as it is.
Yeah, but if it's better, it'd be cooler.
I want more mortars next time.
Yeah, I know. I think he couldn't get the mortar to work for that game or something like that.
Yeah, for both 2 and 3. For 2, he's like, I promise the mortar's going to be here again. And I was like, great, I need it. He's like, not working. I was like, I need it. He's like, ain't going to happen. And then for 3, he's like, I promise, Bob, we got mortars. We got 3 of them, so one of them's going to work. He's like, great, I need them. And I literally sent a specifically large detachment out to get him. And then for the next game, he's like, mortars don't work. I was like, we have 3. He's like, all 3 of them don't work. I was like, oh, I wasted so many good men on those.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That'll be a story for another day.
What are you going to do?